Welcome back to The Explainer. So today we're breaking down exactly why France's World Cup squad isn't just winning games right now, they are absolutely terrifying their opponents. You know, when we look back at football history, there are always those teams that look completely dominant early on, but eventually they stumble, right? But this French team, they're just built differently. They've constructed this system that literally neutralizes nearly every single threat an opponent can throw at them. We're going to unpack exactly how they're pulling this off. And we're focusing not just on the flashy goals, but on the absolute tactical masterclass happening across the pitch that makes them the undisputed favorites. So how are they actually doing it? Let's dive in.
Well, we saw this firsthand in their devastating 3-0 demolition of Sweden. It was a match where experts noted a massive gap in quality, a game that honestly could have easily been 6 or 7-0. For the first maybe 20 to 40 minutes, Sweden actually put up a decent fight. But man, once this French machine clicked into gear, it was just absolute domination. The woodwork got in the way a couple of times, and the Swedish keeper had to make some unbelievable saves, but really, it was just a waiting game. When you actually dig into the underlying data, you realize just how incredibly lopsided this was. Their expected goals weren't just a little bit higher, they were generating these premium, high-percentage scoring chances every few minutes, all while completely suffocating Sweden's ability to even cross the midfield line. The sheer volume of chances just showed a team operating on a completely different planet.
Now, the headlines, of course, are totally obsessed with Kylian Mbappé dancing past defenders and hitting his 18th World Cup goal. But that flashy attack is really just the tip of the iceberg. Analysts watching the Sweden game remarked that by the end, it literally looked like men against boys. And yeah, it is totally mesmerizing to watch Mbappé find the top corner, or see guys like Ousmane Dembélé and Michael Olise combine. But listen, if we only focus on the attacking highlight reel, we are completely missing the most critical element of their success. The real magic, it's happening right below the surface.
Here is the crucial point for you to take away today. The true nightmare for opponents isn't actually the attack. It's the massive, systemic defensive structure happening right behind those attackers. Historically, even the greatest, most legendary teams have had a glaring weakness, right? Some can't handle a deeply packed low block. Others completely crumble under an intense high press, where they struggle to defend when caught in a rapid transition. But this specific French squad, they've basically eliminated those vulnerabilities. They are so remarkably well set up defensively that even when an opponent tries to push forward and exploit what looks like a gap, they find absolutely zero space to operate. It is a completely suffocating experience for anyone playing against them.
When you look at the sheer quality of this defensive unit, it is so clear why they suffocate the opposition and, frankly, rarely make a single mistake on the ball. You've got a backline featuring Dayot Upamecano, William Saliba, Jules Koundé, and Lucas Digne. And they are perfectly shielded by Aurélien Tchouaméni and Adrien Rabiot in the midfield. Now, these aren't just great individual athletes. They're this tightly woven, cohesive unit working tirelessly together. What you really need to take away from this is that teams that actually win titles are built on defenses that simply do not leak errors. This core is as flawless as it gets. They are an absolute anvil that just breaks opposing attacks into pieces.
And this impenetrable wall is powered by something called elite positional intelligence. Basically, this means these players intuitively know exactly where to be at every single microsecond to maintain absolute control. This is the core of why France is so incredibly scary right now. Positional intelligence is all about the collective mind of the defense. They know the exact moment they need to step up and press the ball carrier, the exact moment to stretch their line to cover the wings, and precisely when to tuck in narrowly to protect the center of the box. The next time you watch them play, keep an eye on this. Watch how, when Koundé pushes up the right flank, Tchouaméni instinctively drops back to fill the exact blade of grass he left empty. It's like a beautifully synchronized dance that denies the opponent any breathing room whatsoever.
So this defense basically operates on 3 seamless levels. First, they're perfectly placed. Second, they're physically impossible to outmuscle. And third, they are incredibly composed when distributing out of the back. I mean, it is one thing to be tactically smart, but it's an entirely different beast to combine that tactical genius with sheer overwhelming physical dominance. You simply cannot push these guys off the ball. And then furthermore, when they regain possession, their technical ability is so high that they rarely, if ever, turn the ball over under pressure. They transition from a literal brick wall into a lightning-fast launching pad for the attack in a matter of seconds. It's wild.
But you know, this flawless on-pitch structure? It's no accident. Actually, it starts weeks before the referee even blows the whistle. Look at the staggering contrast between Didier Deschamps' meticulous 15-day early climate and stadium scouting versus Germany's chaotic last-minute arrival.
While a team like Germany showed up just a few days before the tournament, which led to disjointed preparation and their early elimination, Deschamps arrived in the US 2 full weeks early. He personally scouted every single stadium, analyzing the exact weather conditions, the humidity, the temperatures his squad would be facing. He then formulated highly specific strategies for every opponent based on those exact environments. That level of meticulous, obsessive planning is exactly what empowers his players to execute their positional intelligence so flawlessly.
Then you add in a meticulously prepared bench packed with fresh legs, and the picture gets even more intimidating. It's genuinely awe-inspiring to realize that France's backup players could probably reach a World Cup quarterfinal entirely on their own. If the starting 11 doesn't break you, the substitutions absolutely will. Didier Deschamps can look over at his bench and casually bring on game-changers like Ryan Cherki, Jean-Philippe Mateta, or Désiré Doué. He even has the tactical flexibility to completely alter their shape and slide Dembélé into a false 9 role. The sheer depth here is staggering. You spend 60 exhausting minutes fighting the best players in the world, and then France just brings on another batch of world-class, fully rested attackers to completely finish the job.
So this brings us to their next challenge. Can a gritty team like Paraguay actually find a way to make France uncomfortable in the knockouts? As fans, really, the only danger we might see for a completely dominant team like France is complacency. Feeling just a little too comfortable. And Paraguay is incredibly well known for their unique ability to sit deep, suffer through painfully long periods without the ball, and make the game incredibly frustrating for European superpowers. They absolutely thrive on disrupting rhythm.
Paraguay is almost certainly going to park the bus and make it a physical, cagey fight. Their game plan will be entirely clear right from the opening whistle. Set up a stubborn low block, commit hard physical fouls to break up any momentum, try to draw yellow cards, and basically turn the beautiful game into a gritty street fight. But look at the vast array of tools France has to answer this. If they need intricate passing to thread the needle through 10 men behind the ball, they have it. If they need someone to take on 3 defenders in isolation and shoot, Mbappé and Dembélé can do it flawlessly. If they need to strike from distance, they have the personnel for that too. Didier Deschamps holds the master key to every single tactical lock Paraguay could possibly invent.
For instance, if they need to thread a pass through that low block, they can rely on Michael Olise, who already has 5 assists in this tournament. And he perfectly embodies the selfless team-first mentality that is driving this squad. Olise is playing at an unbelievable level right now, creating chances like that brilliant pass between the legs of a Swedish defender to set up Bradley Barcola. But what makes this entire team, from Olise all the way up to Mbappé, so ruthlessly effective is their incredible selflessness. They're all relentlessly tracking back on defense. They're all looking to set each other up rather than fighting to be the main man. There are absolutely no egos getting in the way of the defensive structure we talked about earlier. And honestly, it's exactly this attacking selflessness that makes their defensive positional intelligence actually work.
All of this tactical dominance, this positional perfection, and team-wide selflessness leads to a staggering realization, shared by top analysts, about just how invincible this overall setup actually is. Look, Kylian Mbappé is arguably playing the absolute best football of his career right now. He's looking happier, sharper, and way more engaged than he ever does at the club level. He's actively chasing down all-time World Cup scoring records. Yet, analysts are pointing out that this French team's defensive foundation and their ungodly depth are so overpowering that even if you removed the best player in the world from their starting lineup, they would still be the clear favorites to lift the trophy. Think about that for a second.
So, I'll leave you with that provocative thought to ponder as we watch the rest of the knockout stages unfold. When a team combines unmatched positional intelligence at the back, a coach who plans for every single variable weeks in advance, and a selfless attack overflowing with depth, it really forces us to ask, can anyone truly stop the French Juggernaut, or is this tournament already over? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and enjoy the rest of the tournament.